S. Chan presents educational video lectures as per the new UGC curriculum. Difficult concepts made easy. Study anywhere, anytime.
So assume a bakery shop of Mr. Rohan today. Mr. Rohan, who was the founder of a bakery shop. Once upon a time, there was a small town bakery called Sweet Bakery, which is known for its mouth-watering pastries and patties. The owner, Mr. Rohan, he had worked tirelessly, बहुत मेहनत से काम किया, and he established this bakery shop as a local famous shop. आप लोग भी कहीं ना कहीं से मंगाते होंगे और खाते होंगे, वही एक ऐसी बेकरी की बात चल रही है यहाँ पर. One day, Mr. Rohan got an unexpected visit from, a well-dressed gentleman named Mr. Ekansh. Mr. Ekansh, जो कि अपने आप को कैसे इंट्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं, he has been introducing himself as a representative of a huge chain of supermarket outlets and expressed a good interest in dealing with tasty delights pastries on their shelves. Excited about the potential opportunities to expand, अपना खुद का business, Mr. Rohan ने उस particular business की opportunity के ऊपर अपना एक excitement show किया. Then what happened? Mr. Rohan engaged in business negotiation with Mr. Ekansh and they discussed the terms and conditions of a contract. And I hope आप लोगों को contract याद होगा. What do you understand by the term contract? A contract is an agreement which is enforceable by the law. They discussed the terms and conditions of the contract, including the quantity of the patties and pastries to be supplied and the price and definitely how they'll deliver and what would be the delivery time. So both the parties, they were both eager to close the deal. However, as Mr. Rohan at that time, before, moving to the business transaction, he just dug deeper into a Mr. Ekansh's background and he found that Mr. Ekansh is a bankrupt person. अब होता क्या है आगे देखते हैं. Concerned about the financial stability of his potential partner, Mr. Rohan क्या करते हैं अपने business law. उनका एक friend था जो कि who studied business law for his guidance. Mr. Rohan consulted his business law friend for a business guidance. The professor friend explained that in order to have a contract, the capacity of contracting parties should be there. And जो कि एक fundamental principle है किसी भी contract को बनाने के लिए. Referring to person's legal ability to enter into a binding agreement. This is what I have just conveyed to you. He warned Mr. Rohan. He मतलब यहाँ पर किसका है? He means we are talking about the friend, business law's friend. He warned Mr. Rohan that if Mr. Ekansh lacked the capacity to contract due to his bankruptcy status, so the contract they were about to sign could be void. And I hope कि हम लोगों ने last videos में कई बार discuss किया कि contracts के types होते हैं. We had a classification of contracts and one of them classification was void contract. So with this knowledge, Mr. Rohan decided to explore alternative options to protect his business interest, and he proposed an arrangement where the Tasty Delights would supply the pastries and patties directly to the supermarket chains, regional distribution centers. So यहाँ तक मैं आप लोगों को बता देता हूँ कि अभी तक का क्या हमारा निचोड़ रहा है इस पर्टिकुलर स्टोरी का. मिस्टर रोहन एंड मिस्टर एकांश एक बिजनेस ट्रांजैक्शन में आते हैं. वहां पर मिस्टर रोहन उनके साथ एक बिजनेस में मूव करने की कोशिश करता है जहां पर मिस्टर एकांश उनके बिजनेस को देखकर, बेकरी शॉप को देखकर का बड़ा अच्छा इंटरेस्ट शो करते हैं. एंड देन व्हाट हैपेंड, लेट अस हैव अ लुक इनटू इट. उन्होंने एक प्रपोज की एक अरेंजमेंट वेयर द टेस्टी डिलाइट्स वुड सप्लाई द पेस्ट्रीज एंड पैटीज directly to the supermarket chain's regional distribution center. That is a contract. There is a term and condition which the people have been discussing with the payment made upon the delivery. This way, Mr. Rohan mitigated the risk of entering a binding contract with someone who is lacking a capacity. It means यहाँ पर जो Mr. Ekansh है, he has been lacking into that capacity, and if someone is lacking in a capacity, then he is not entitled and he will not be able to enter into a contract. So, in the end, what happened? What is the conclusion now? In the end, Mr. Rohan's cautious approach paid off. Tasty Delights pastries and patties become a hit in the supermarkets, leading to increased sales and greater visibility for the bakery shop. So, अब यहाँ पर आता है conclusion. Let us understand the conclusion of this particular story. This story The story of Mr. Rohan and Mr. Ekansh, where the Mr. Rohan was the bakery shopkeeper and Mr. Ekansh was the representative of supermarket chains. They had a business transaction between each other where they were talking, where this story was talking about the lack of capacity of Mr. Ekansh because of his bankruptcy. So here in this story, it illustrates the importance of understanding the capacity of the parties. Parties means contracting parties, those who are about to enter into a contract. So this particular story highlights how a business owner knowledge of legal principles can help to navigate potential pitfalls and secure favorable outcomes in their commercial dealings. So here this story is absolutely related to the capacity of parties. I hope you must have got through this story that in order to enter into a valid contract, there are always essentials of a valid contract, and capacity of parties is one of those ingredients to enter into a valid contract.
If you want to study this topic in detail, refer to the book by S. John Publishing and Vikas Publishing House. Link is provided in the description box.
So let's begin. My name is Mohit Kapil and I'm here to teach you a business regulatory framework. So let's begin. So now let us understand what is the meaning of capacities of parties. Capacities of parties is also an essential ingredient of a valid contract. According to the Section 11 of the Contract Act 1872, every person is competent to enter a contract if the following conditions are fulfilled. Let us take an example. The person who has attained the age of majority as per the law to which he or she is subjected. Number one, this is the first condition to enter into a contract. Number two, the person should be of sound mind. He should not be of unsound mind. Number three, the person should not be disqualified by law. It means these are the three different conditions. Those helps capacitating parties to enter into a contract. Let us move to the next slide to make it more clear. Capacities of contract. Disqualification for capacity to contract. How many people, who are those who disqualify in order to enter into a contract? Let us take an example. Disqualifications for capacity to contract means there are minors, persons of unsound mind, and those who are disqualified by the law. Number one. Now let's understand who is actually में incompetent to contract. ऐसे कौन लोग हैं जो एक्चुअल में इनकॉम्पिटेंट है किसी भी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को करने के लिए? ये स्लाइड हमें आज ये बताने वाली है हु आर दोज पीपल जो एक्चुअल में डिस्क्वालिफाइड कहलाते हैं. तो पहला, नंबर वन, माइनर. नंबर टू, पर्संस ऑफ अनसाउंड माइंड. एंड नंबर थ्री, डिस्क्वालिफाइड पीपल. यानी कि ये तीन ऐसी पर्सनालिटीज हैं दोज हैव बीन declared disqualified for capacity to contract. Let us take an example. Number one, a minor. Till they are being classified as minor as per the law. Law के according एक particular age attain जब तक किसी एक इंसान ने नहीं किया तब तक वह minor कहलाता है. और अगर वो minor है, if in case the person is a minor, then he may not be able to enter into a contract until and unless वो law की conditions को qualify करता हो. Number two, an unsound person. एक इंसान, हिंदी में हम उसको बेवड़ा भी कह सकते हैं. लेट्स टेक एन एग्जांपल कि एक इंसान जो लिकर लेकर के अगर किसी पर्टिकुलर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में मूव करने की कोशिश कर रहा है, देयर ही कैन बी एन अनसाउंड पर्सन. ऑन द अदर हैंड, एक और एग्जांपल लेकर चलते हैं. ऑन द अदर हैंड, देयर इज वन मोर एग्जांपल एंड दैट इज मेंटल इलनेस. इफ द पर्सन हु हैज बीन सफरिंग विद मेंटल इलनेस, ही कैन नॉट एंटर इनटू अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. नंबर थ्री, a very important point, a person who is disqualified by law to which he is subjected, he is also disqualified and he may not be enter into a contract. So these are the persons, those who are incompetent to contract. So let me recapitalize this particular slide here. We are talking about disqualifications for the capacity to contract. Please make a note of it. We are here talking about capacity to contract and we are talking about the disqualifications in order to enter into a contract. Disqualifications in order to have the capacity to make a contract. Number one, minor. Number two, persons of unsound mind. And number three, disqualified people. Who is the minor? The minor is the one till they are being classified as minor as per the law. Number two, an unsound person. we have had a discussion regarding unsound person, the person who has taken a liquor or the person who is suffering with mental illness, they cannot enter into a contract. Number 3, a person who is disqualified by law to which he is subjected. So I hope this slide is absolutely clear to everyone. Let us understand how a minor is incompetent to form a contract. According to the Indian Majority Act 1875, a person who has not attained the age of 18 years is considered as a minor. Minor means एक छोटा बच्चा जो कि जिसकी 18 साल से कम की उम्र है. Therefore, due to the lack of legal capacity, he cannot form a contract. Absolutely. अगर आप कल 17 years के हैं, 16 years के हैं और अगर आपको लगता है कि मैं contract में जाना चाहता हूँ, so you cannot legally enter into a contract. There are a number of ways, but yes, according to the Indian Majority Act 1875, the person who has only attained the age of 18 years is only liable and consider a legal capacity to enter into a contract. Otherwise, you cannot. However, एक majority age भी होती है. The age of the majority is increased up to 21 years, wherein the guardian of that person means minor. The guardian of a minor or his property has been allocated by the court of law, or the minor has been put under the guardianship of the court of the watch. So, hence, there can be a legal position of the agreement by minor on various conditions. Let us understand those conditions carefully. First condition is an agreement made by a minor. The person who has attained the age of 18 years, who has not attained the age of 18 years would be void. The contract which has been made by a minor who has still not attained the age of 18 years would be void, and he will not be working against him. So we can say that a minor is not under any legal obligation. जब एक minor allowed ही नहीं है किसी contract को करने के लिए, so he is also not counted under the legal obligation. Number 2, a minor can be a beneficiary. Please make a note of it. Minor यहाँ पर हम लोग बात कर रहे हैं. A minor can be a beneficiary or a promise so that he can legalize his agreement. कैसे? For example, through example. Let us understand the example. Suppose एक minor है जिसके पास एक बहुत ही अच्छी valuable property है and he wishes to sell that particular property. So the minor here, a minor being as a beneficiary or a promise can appoint a guardian who can act as a beneficiary or promise on minor's behalf and enabling the agreement to be legally binding and allowing the property to be sold. So this is the one of the condition where a minor can enter into a contract with the help of his guardian. Number 3rd point, no ratification is absolutely allowed either during minority and even after attaining the age of the majority. No ratification is applicable on obtaining the majority age. इसका एक example है मैं यहाँ पर देना चाहूँगा आप लोगों को so that you can understand the point clearly. Suppose एक 17-year-old एक individual है who is trying to enter into a contract, who has almost enters into a contract to purchase a car. Even if they later turn 18, अगर वो वहाँ पर एक particular majority में आ जाते हैं, so they cannot ratify the contract since the act of abstaining from the majority age prohibits retroactive validation. इसका मतलब साफ है, no ratification is applicable even during the minor age or even after attaining the age of majority. Let us move to the next slide. Now this is the question time here. The question time is that there are 2 different questions which has been which has been inculcated here just to make you clear and आप लोगों के अंदर वो excitement create हो सके so that you can understand the subject business regulatory framework by Chant. A person cannot make a contract when he is of sound mind. Do you really agree with that? आपको क्या लगता है? Yes या no? And second question है, if a person is present with his all limbs, can he enter into a contract? The one who is present with his all limbs, can he enter into a contract? What do you see? What do you feel? Yes or no? So in order to stay connected with us, please stay connected and watch our all videos.
Now quality learning is easily available at your doorstep. Chant Academy brings detailed lectures based on UGC curriculum as per the New Education Policy 2020. So do not forget to subscribe to the Chant Academy and access the wide world of knowledge conveniently sitting within the comfort of your home. Stay connected and keep watching Chant Academy. Happy learning!
So welcome back to the Eschand Academy. My name is Mohit Kapil, and we were talking about the capacities of the parties to enter into a valid contract. So let us understand the other conditions of a person who can enter into a contract. We were talking about specifically related to the minor. Why minor is incompetent to contract, and how? What are the conditions available to enter into a contract for a minor? So there can be no stopple applicable on minor. Let me give you an example so that you can understand these terms easily. For example, suppose a minor falsely represents themselves as an adult and enters into a contract. So later they reveal their true age. So the minor cannot be stopped from asserting their minority status, re-entering the contract voidable. Hoga kya? That will come to the contract where it will be called as voidable. So therefore there can be no stopple applicable on minor. इसका मतलब साफ है. With this example, अगर एक माइनर अपने आप को गलत तरीके से प्रेजेंट करने की कोशिश कर रहा है और बाद में वो ये कह रहा है कि यस आई वाज द माइनर देयर, वो अपना स्टेटस, माइनॉरिटी का स्टेटस चेंज नहीं कर सकता. So it means this particular capacity will lead to the voidable contract. Now my next point is, the Indian Contract Act 1872 states that a principal may appoint a minor as an agent. A minor as an agent. A principal. Please make a note of it. There are two different people. A principal and an agent. The Indian Contract Act 1872 states that a principal may appoint a minor as an agent, and he or she can bind the principal personally liable for the breach of a contract. So what does it understand? I mean, what do you understand by this particular statement? अभी तक आपको लोगों को ये जो स्टेटमेंट मैंने आपके सामने रीड करी है, आपको क्या समझ में आया? मैं समझाता हूं आपको. इंडियन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्ट ये स्टेट करता है कि एक प्रिंसिपल अपने माइनर को एज एन एजेंट अपॉइंट कर सकता है, एंड शी और शी कैन बाइंड द प्रिंसिपल पर्सनली लायबल. यहां पर जो माइनर है वो पर्सनली लायबल नहीं होगा. अगर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में कहीं ब्रीच होता है तो जो लायबिलिटी होगी वो प्रिंसिपल की होगी, और प्रिंसिपल वो उसका कोई गार्जियन भी हो सकता है और वो उसी का कोई रिलेटिव भी हो सकता है. आई होप द पॉइंट इज क्लियर टू यू. एंड द लास्ट पॉइंट बट नॉट द लीस्ट, a minor cannot become the partner in a partnership. So these are the three multiple, there are 3, 6, 4, 5, 6 different conditions those who are available where we understand a minor कहाँ पे applicable होगा contract करने के लिए और कहाँ वो applicable नहीं है. So let us move to the next slide. Now let us understand, क्योंकि मैंने आप लोगों को बताया था, we were talking about incompetence capacities of the parties and how many people who are incompetent to enter into a contract. तो जिसमें second category आती है unsound person की. Let us understand how an unsound person is incompetent to form a contract. An unsound person is deemed incompetent to form a contract. Before moving to this particular line, I wanted to know, what do you understand by unsound? What do you think? Unsound का मतलब क्या होता है? जिसको सुनाई ना देता हो? No. अनसाउंड का मतलब है who is not mentally fit, who is not mentally fit, और उस टाइम पर जिस टाइम पे he is trying to enter into a contract वहां पर वो उस वक्त अनसाउंड है, अनसाउंडली प्रेजेंट है. Let us take an example. पहले example समझते हैं so that we can understand this particular content here. For example, let us consider a situation where an individual under heavy influence of liquor enters into a contract to purchase a luxury car. Their mental condition prevents them from comprehending the value of the car. Please make a note of it. एक इंसान जो कि बहुत ही heavily influenced है लिकर लेने के बाद, वो गलती से एक लग्जरी कार परचेज करने के लिए निकल जाता है कि आज तो मैं लग्जरी कार लेकर के ही आऊंगा. Then what happened? उसका मेंटल कंडीशन की वजह से वो क्या करता है, वो कॉम्प्रीहेंड नहीं कर पाता है उस पर्टिकुलर कार की वैल्यू को लेकर के, एंड द फाइनेंशियल ऑब्लिगेशंस व्हिच वर इन्वॉल्वड एट दैट टाइम, or the consequences of the contract. So in such a case, आपको क्या लगता है कि क्या हुआ होगा? Let us have a look into it. The contract would be voidable because the unsound person lacks the capacity to enter into a legal contract or legally binding agreement. So I hope this example makes you clear that unsound person is always incompetent to form a contract. So let us understand the meaning of this particular point. An unsound person is deemed incompetent to form a contract due to their mental incapacity, their inability to understand the nature and consequence of the agreement, which makes it unfair and legally unenforceable. And I hope you understand the meaning of unenforceable. मतलब जो कानूनी तौर पर illegal हो. Is that clear to everyone? I hope the point is clear to you. Let us move to the next slide. Now here, what we'll talk about? We'll talk about who are disqualified persons and how they are incompetent to form a contract. Is that clear? तो आज हम यहाँ पर अब ये समझने वाले हैं जो थर्ड कैटेगरी है कि ऐसे कौन है जो इनकॉम्पिटेंट है कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फॉर्म करने के लिए. So here we'll be talking about a few people, those who are disqualified, based on different conditions. Let us understand one by one. The first point is there are following persons which are declared as disqualified. The first point is alien. The first point is alien enemies. Who are these people? The people, a citizen who belongs to the other country, the person who is not the part of India, or the person who does not belong to this particular country. वहाँ हम उसको alien enemies कहते हैं, and these are the people, those who are always disqualified by the law, and they are incompetent to form a contract. Is that clear? Number second point, foreign sovereigners and ambassadors. साइड में मैंने आप लोगों के ब्रैकेट में लिखा है so that you can understand what does it mean and how the people are incompetent. क्या एक foreigner, क्या एक ambassador, ये incompetent होते हैं? Let us have a look. They can enter due to their they cannot enter. They actually cannot enter due to their diplomatic immunity. What does it mean? Which shields them to form any legal obligations and enforcement within the host country's jurisdiction. जिस particular देश में हम रह रहे हैं, जब उनका jurisdiction हमारे jurisdiction के साथ match नहीं होता है, so what do we call them? We always call them incompetent to form a contract. ठीक है? So I hope these two personalities are clear to you. What is the third personality? A person who is a convict and under imprisonment. What does it mean? A convict during his imprisonment cannot enter into a contract. अगर एक इंसान जिसको जेल हो गई है, अगर वो एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में आने की कोशिश कर रहा है, दिस इज एब्सोल्युटली क्लियर दैट दिस इज वेरी जनरल एंड अ वेरी कॉमन सेंस कि अगर एक इंसान जो कि जेल में है, ही कैन नॉट एंटर इनटू अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एंड ही विल बी इनकॉम्पिटेंट टू फॉर्म ए कॉन्ट्रैक्ट बिकॉज देयर आर essentials required to form a valid contract. Let us move to the next slide. So now this is the answer time. May I know any guesses for the first answer of the first question? Any guesses? So आपको क्या लगता है? Person cannot make a contract with when he is of sound mind? What is your answer? What do you think? I'm giving you 1 minute to think about it. A person cannot make a contract when he is of sound mind. The answer is no. He can enter into a contract because the sound person can make a contract. I hope the point is clear to you. What is the second answer? If a person is present with his all limbs, can he enter into a contract? Any guesses? Yes, he can definitely enter into a contract because he is present with his all limbs. There are certain terms and conditions, to form a contract, and if he is fulfilling those conditions with his all limbs, then he can definitely enter into a contract. So here we come to the end of this particular lecture. In this particular video, we have discussed about the capacities to form a contract, capacities of the contracting parties to form a valid contract, where we had three different, personalities, where we had a discussion regarding three different people. Number one, minor. Number two, unsound people. And number three, the person, those who are disqualified by law. Under the minor categories, there were, two different conditions where we had a discussion regarding Indian Majority Act 1875, जो हमें ये बोलता है कि एक इंसान तब तक एक लीगल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में नहीं आ सकता जब तक कि वो अपनी एक 18 ईयर्स की एज को अटेन नहीं कर लेता है, एंड द मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द एज हैज़ बीन एक्सटेंडेड अप टू 21 ईयर्स, जहाँ पर उसके साथ एक गार्जियनशिप कनेक्ट होता है, वो प्लेज एज ए प्रिंसिपल रोल एंड माइनर प्लेज एज ए एजेंट रोल. एंड देयर वर सर्टेन कंडीशंस जो हमने डिस्कस की थी वेयर माइनर इज अलाउड टू एंटर इनटू अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट बट विथ सर्टेन कंडीशंस. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, इसी वीडियो में हम लोगों ने भी हैड अ डिस्कशन रिगार्डिंग अनसाउंड पीपल, अनसाउंड माइंड, why they were incompetent to form a contract, and the last people were undisqualified people. These were those people, those who were disqualified by law and they were incompetent to form a contract. So I hope the video was interesting to you.
If you want to study this topic in detail, refer to the book by S. Chand Publishing and Vikas Publishing House. Link is provided in the description box. If you found our video interesting, please like, share and subscribe. And do not forget to press the bell icon.
All rights reserved. This video has been prepared for educational purposes only. No part of it may be reproduced or copied without the permission of the copyright holder.